Hey YouTube, today I'm going to show you how to fix a broken temperature gauge sensor on KTM Husqvarna 4-stroke motorcycles. This is the sensor that connects to the air boot in the airbox on a KTM 250 SXF. So this sensor, I have seen on Google that a lot of people deal with these guys breaking, and generally speaking they fray right at the base. And as you can see, this one, it's the same thing. This wire is all mangled and broken at the base. So I'm going to show you how you can fix this instead of buying a $300+ wiring harness. So the first thing that I did is I peeled back the protective covering to better expose the wires. The second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use a small screwdriver, and I'm going to peel this rubber like grommet thingy up and out of the housing. I'm going to slide it all the way up. Okay? Then inside here there is basically this white plastic part. You're gonna push out from the, I'm gonna call this the top. You're gonna push it out from the top. So I'm gonna stick the screwdriver right in here. I'm gonna stick it like that, and I'm gonna push this white piece right here out. So I'm gonna push on the side, on both sides, and like that, this piece just pops right out. So I'm gonna set this to the side. And now, what you'll notice is there are two fins. There's a fin for this connector and this connector. It's a gray fin. So I'm gonna lift the gray, see that fin right there? I'm gonna lift that up, and then with my other hand, I'm gonna use a needle nose, and I'm gonna pull the connector out. Okay, so now I've got one connector exposed. Now I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Oh, there it came. I've got the connectors out. Okay, so now this is the, I'm gonna call this the outer housing. I've got the outer housing and I've got the inner housing separated. So now we're ready to work with the wires. So I'm gonna use a gem knife, and I'm going to cut this back a little bit further so that we can give ourselves some room to work. So I'm gonna tear it back pretty far. I'm gonna use a side snipper, and I'm going to cut the frayed wire here. And then what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna cut the rubber that's around the wire like so. And then what I'm gonna try and do is slide this boot, since it's pretty tight, up the wire. All right, so I got my wires pulled through this little grommet thingy, and now we are ready to cut the wire and basically make this connection down here again. So now I've separated these connectors, and we've got two wires here. I'm gonna continue to pull this apart a little more to give us more room. I use my side snipper to cut the excess off. And now we've got some nice wire to work with, some fresh stuff. So the next thing that we're gonna need to do is uncrimp this and recrimp it on the new wire. All right, so a little update. I used a pick to basically wedge in here to split this, so now the wire can lift up like that. And then I'm gonna use a pick and in the same manner separate this middle section. All right guys, I got the wires out of the connectors, as you can see here. It was pretty difficult, but what I did was I started by using a flat bladed screwdriver to pry this portion open, and then this center portion was crimped really tightly. So I used a pick and I went down through the top to open them up, and then all this was nasty and really wide open, but the wires came out, and then I used the pliers to crimp it sort of back into shape so that I can put the new wire in there and then crimp it down with the pliers. But you know, use what means you have, and basically what you're just trying to do is get the broken wires out of it by uncrimping up here and down here. All right guys, the next step is to strip the insulation so that we can connect the connectors to the wire. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a gem blade. I'm going to cut the insulation and peel it back from the wire. So now we've got our two wires without any insulation. So we're ready to put our connectors back on and crimp them down. All right guys, so I spent a little bit of time off camera crimping these guys down, making sure that they're all tight. Their shape is definitely not where they were before this project started, but the idea is that the metal is making good contact and it's strong and it's crimped tight. Next, you're gonna be installing these connectors back into the outer housing. So to do that, I'm gonna reference to this part of the housing as the top and this little notch as the bottom. And then this is the area where these connectors are gonna go. So red goes up top, black goes on the bottom. This little channel here goes to the inside. The channel on both of these connectors goes to the inside of the circle. So there'll be these two pieces, these two connectors will be opposite each other. They'll be rotated inwards. So we're gonna do the red one first. We're gonna turn it so that it's facing inward. That little notch catches on the lip that we flipped up. So I'm gonna slide the red piece in like that. Push it all the way in, use my screwdriver to just push it as far as it can go. It's not bottomed out quite yet, so I'll nudge it just a little more. We're almost bottomed out. I'm gonna switch to my smaller screwdriver and give it a nudge. Now it's bottomed out in there. So now it's time to do the black one. The black one, I'm gonna pull the grommet up just a little bit. Give us some room. The black one is gonna face inwards. Stick it in there like so. And I'm gonna push it in like so. Till it bottoms out. All right, now on this side, your clips should be clipped in. The top one looks good. Bottom one Looks okay. And so yeah, now your clips are back in. And you can go ahead and push the rubber grommet back down into the housing, like so. And then the last thing that you have is you have your inner housing, as I called it. It just slips right in, like so. Use a screwdriver to make sure that it's seated all the way, like that. See how it's flush with the gray inner portion. And there you go. Your connector has now been reconnected and you don't have any frayed wires. What I would do is I might put a little bit of silicone right here, something to reinforce this region so that it doesn't break, but you just rebuilt this little sensor connector and you didn't have to buy a KTM OEM sensor for, you know, a couple $100. So let me know in the comments down below if you have any questions or concerns, and I'll do my best to answer those. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video and it was helpful, and subscribe if you like my content and you like my videos. Thank you guys. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.